Ladies and gentlemen, these next Top Guns have actually probably just done that, right? Even though it should never be our purpose, they have actually been able to transform their marketplace very, very rapidly. Let's stop the hustle and let's stop the grind and learn from some of the industry's young guns. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Tara, Flynn, Jassy and Bailey White.
And the old guy, Jarrod Carman. Coming up. I'm really excited about this session. I very much like fostering young talent and helping people get to where they want to get to. This is, if you own a business, if you're looking at putting on PAs, if you are a PA, whatever level you are at today, sit and focus because you should get something from this. This young panel of superstars, up-and-coming superstars or already superstars. So, guys, I'm going to ask you all some questions, free-flowing, just have a nice conversation with the crowd. Is everyone okay with that? You guys cool with that? Everyone paying attention? Excellent. Jassy Batrouney, tell us, who is Jassy? Tell us a bit of your story.
Yeah, so I am a South Gippsland girl, always have been, probably always will be. I love my netball, have always been a part of the local community, so I went straight from school into uni. Not going to say I regret that. Probably shouldn't, but I have never really used my degree much. I did journalism, which is very riveting. Went straight from there into marketing, so I worked for a creative agency just doing advertising and marketing. And my most recent role before real estate was in a paediatric first aid company, which I loved. The work was very rewarding, but I hated being behind a computer all day and not seeing anyone. I am a massive people person. My best friend Jack Gilchrist owns Area Specialist South Gippsland and had been in my ear for so long, annoying me, saying, you should come work with me, you know, you'd be great. And I was like, no, I wouldn't. I would panic and shit the bed. Oops. And then finally, I sort of got to a point, we had gone through a fair bit of stuff in our lives. We'd lost a friend. Work was sort of becoming more and more draining just being behind that computer screen, and I sort of took the leap. I took leave, resigned and then took leave from my role, went to New Zealand, got engaged, came back and started in real estate, and I've never looked back. Best decision I've ever made in my life.
How long have you been in it?
I started in August, late August.
Started in August, and can you tell us a bit of that story? So you started as a PA?
Yep. So started just basically shadowing Jack. He was a one-man band. He's been in the industry for about 7 years now. Shadowed him with everything that he did. Really got thrown into the deep end quite quickly, which looking back now I love. At the time I hated him for it. He just sort of said, you know, go and do that, you'll be fine. Did not tell me anything, and I would go to inspections, I would go to appointments, and I just literally had no idea what I was doing and just sort of banked on the fact that I could talk my way out of anything and really did that. So, shadowed him for a little while. We got busier and busier to the point where I could no longer shadow him, and I went out on my own and, have never looked back.
So you're a PA for how long? You went out on your own?
I was probably with him full-time for a couple of weeks, maybe a month.
We'll catch that for a month. And how many sales have you made since then?
I've done 30.
Give it a round of applause. That's pretty impressive. Well done. From your previous experience, has there been anything that you've really tapped into to bring that into real estate? Was there some level of experience from studying or what have you?
Yeah, I think where I was before, a paediatric first aid company, we used to hear some really devastating stories of children losing their lives and the things that parents would go through, and I think that really brought out in me that you have to put people first, and especially I live in a small town and I will always be there and I know everyone, and I think that has brought out in me that you have to be able to understand why people are doing things. Like a lot of people in our town think that this is great, you make good money, it's hard work, you do make quite good money, but you're selling your soul and you're doing things to help people get to a certain point in their lives that they need to get to. And I think for me that previous role that I had and growing up in the community that I'm in, I think that you really understand that you need to pinpoint why people are doing something, and then you really need to look after that and protect that because they're trusting you with their story.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now Tara, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Tara? How did Tara get on stage here at Black Salt?
That's a great question. Thank you, Jarrod. I am 24 years old. I came out of high school, travelled for a few months, and then decided to jump straight in. I did do 2 weeks at university before that. Absolutely not for me. And I worked sort of in reception, admin, marketing, foot in the door in real estate, and was a standalone agent for a little while. And now I work alongside one of Victoria's biggest listers, Noel Susek.
G'day, Noel. Now tell us about that. You went out as an agent yourself, and this is great for people who are looking at becoming a PA themselves or are a PA and looking at branching out. So you were a PA for a little while, and then you went and tried it out as a standalone agent. How long did you do that for, if you don't mind me asking?
I was a PA for a few months, probably 6 months, and then decided to try it for myself.
Yep.
I was probably out on my own for around a year.
Yep. And your role now in the EBU, what do you do in the EBU as your team with Noel? What's your specific role?
My specific role, we've obviously got set roles in it, but I feel like we're more of a team dynamic, which is amazing because we're both sales executives.
Yep.
And we work together, we go to listing appointments together, appraisals together, and that's basically...
You're his wing person.
I keep the
ultimate wing person.
running.
The yin to the yang. Look, everyone needs it. It's nice having that team dynamic where you can bounce off someone, especially if it's different energy in the room. Now, this young man, Mr. Bailey White. Now, disclaimer, Bailey's a competitor of mine sometimes. If I'm ever going to lose a listing, I'm happy to lose it to a young man like this. Not too often, but Bailey's an absolute gun. So, Bailey, tell us about yourself. Who is Bailey White?
Awesome, mate. Thank you. Can you hear me? Awesome. So 25 years old. I've been in real estate for 7 years. I was very close to being a high school dropout. The principal called mum and dad in November, year 11, and said, "We don't think your son should do exams at our school." I didn't like school. I didn't have a great friendship circle, and I just knew that wasn't really a place that I wanted to be. And mum and dad sold a home every 4 to 5 years. They flipped. They're not in real estate, but I was always the one at the dining room table, asking the agent more questions than what they did. So I always had a general interest in our industry, in people more so. So I hopped into real estate as soon as I finished year 12, finished exams in September, started in December at Barry Plant in Frankston. I was there for 3 years. I then joined a boutique, a more prestigious brand in Mornington. I was there for 3 years and we were made redundant last July. Mm-hmm. So since then I've joined Marshall White and we're at the Mount Eliza office. I run a team of 3, so Mitchell, who's here today, he's my colleague, sort of like co-agent. We work on every listing together. And then we've got Charlotte, who's our administration extraordinaire.
Yep. So were you a PA?
Yes, I started as a PA for about, I reckon, 16 months to my director at Barry Plant. And effectively, the apprenticeship was what it still is today.
What did you learn from that, do you think, as a PA? What were the specific things you learned?
Yeah, my boss at the time was really hard, and the discipline was one that I didn't have anything to compare to, but really setting the foundations up for a successful business in our industry. You know, I was doing letterbox drops in Frankston North at 5 and 6 a.m, and if anyone knows Frankston North, it's probably not the best spot to be doing that, no disrespect to the area. So getting the name out there. Prospecting was effectively my role whilst learning the ropes of the industry and assisting him. And
now you've got your own PAs. What do you look for in a PA? Oh, sorry, a team. We don't call everyone a PA. What do you look for in a team?
I think it's critical is the hunger. You know, we're in the business of chasing, and we're like lion chasing the next dinner and feeding our children with it. So you've got to have that internal hunger. You've got to love what you do. It's not an industry. If you like it half the time, it's really not. It's not worth your while. So you've got to be all in. And I think that hunger really does stem to wonderful things.
Yep. Tara, as someone who's been a PA and gone out on her own, what should someone look for in a PA, do you think?
Probably what Bailey said, definitely the hunger, the organisation, the ability to hold down the fort when there is chaos, I think is really important, and to just implement those structures and make sure that they're stuck to.
Yeah, Jassy, I didn't ask you because you weren't a PA for long enough. But it's really important with structure for a PA. They need the structure coming into it. So if you are looking at putting on a PA, please have some structure for them, because otherwise if you just involve them in your chaos, then they can't succeed as well. So it is important that you have that sort of structure. Now, Bailey, you go in against some old fossils like myself. What's your point of difference? How do you, and this isn't for my vested interest, how do you beat people like me? No.
tell
What's
you.
your point of difference, or how do you overcome that? As a young agent, how do you overcome going in against people who have years of experience? How did you initially overcome it? Because you've got the experience now.
Yeah, good question. I think I've had to accept from the start that not everyone wants to deal with, someone in their 20s, 25 years old, and some people just want to deal with a more mature person, whether they're more skilled at the job or not. It's irrelevant. So overcoming that generally is, I think knowledge is power. Knowing more than your competition, being across all segments of the market. But I think the number one thing is the enthusiasm and the energy and the passion and care that you show towards every opportunity. And I've won listings where they said you walked in the door and we immediately crossed you off the list because you're young. I do try and keep a little bit of stubble there. But at the end of the appointment, we saw the light through that, and it was clear why we wanted to go with you as opposed to other agents. So
I think that was the one you beat me to, actually.
I didn't want to say. No.
It's awkward.
People can feel your energy,
Yep.
and we all know we deal with people. And someone said earlier, the houses are just the commodity of what we do, and that interaction and how you make people feel is why people want to work with you.
Absolutely. Girls, how do you overcome that? Have you had that objection? Have you had the youth objection?
Yes, a lot of people have said to me, you're younger than my granddaughter and blah, blah, blah. And I think it's so hard, but at the same time, it just depends on what service they want. Like, we can go back to them and say, that's great, but does that older agent know how to use their Facebook page? Because they haven't posted since 2017, so...
There you go, dinosaurs, get on that.
So you have to use it to your advantage. I think that you just have to, any objection that you get, it's the same with anything, age or whatever it may be, you have to go back to them and have a positive in what they see as a negative.
Yep, you have to have a positive spin to it because you can't badmouth people. For any agents in there that do that, you can't do that. Tara, yourself, have you come up against that?
Yes, and I think time is such a massive thing because I do have more time. I don't have a family. I will respond to emails at 9:30 at night. I don't have to take the kids to soccer on a Sunday morning. I can open your house. And I think that's something you just got to own.
That's a good point. On that, what do you feel about balance? Do you feel balance is a bit of a myth at the moment, or do you have balance? Is it something that you focus on? Jassy, do you have balance? Is it important to you?
Yeah, Tara and I were talking about this before. Our area is so different. Like, the buyers that are coming through, I've probably gone to high school with them, or I know their uncle or something like that. So it's so much more flexible where we're from because it's such a small town. There aren't many people. I can have a really casual conversation and just work out what is going on. But I think you sort of have to, at some point, not force a work-life balance, but if you're just giving everything to the job all the time, that's great, but if you lose yourself and you lose your personality, you're then going to lose your spark.
Yep.
So at some point, it has to stop. Even just giving yourself a few hours, middle of the day on a Wednesday when you know you're going to be really quiet, go for a massage, go for a walk, clear your mind. Because I haven't been in this for long, but I know that if you are constantly on the phone and constantly doing things, it can get really, really hard. But that Jack has always instilled that in me as well. Like, if I'm getting stressed because my phone literally hasn't stopped calling, he'll be like, go for a walk, just get out of here, because it's not good. So I think at some point it has to be a priority, but at the same time it's such a fine line between making that work and still being successful. So it's really tough.
Yep. Yeah, Tara? Balance?
What's a work-life balance? I'm not sure, Joan. No, just kidding. I'll elaborate. I think that if you can do things outside of work that fill your cup and you can fill your cup at work, then that is your life.
Yep.
And that's sort of what I live by. You need to make sure you're going to the gym in the morning so that you've got energy for the day. You need to make sure that you're seeing your friends on the Sunday afternoon that you do have free. And that's ultimately your life. And if that's not your passion, then get out of the industry.
It's a fair point. You can incorporate your life into real estate. You don't have to just be working all the time. You heard Joel before. He used to go off at lunchtime and go to the gym for lunch. You can involve it into your life, and especially if you're a local person dealing with locals. Is that a bit overwhelming though? And do you get that too, where you're walking through town and everybody knows you? You go to the supermarket and you can't get out of there for 2 hours and you forget the milk and bread that you went for. Do you experience that yet?
Yeah, I went to an engagement party on Saturday. It was my best friend's engagement party, and I had to walk through the pub to get a drink, and it took me like an hour.
Yep.
Literally like an hour. Some old bloke was like, you know, what's my house worth? And I was like, I just really want to get a cocktail. Just leave me alone. But you get used to it. And I think it's nice because at some point that it does go in your favour. It helps you out. It builds trust. It builds the fact that, you know, they can have a casual chat to you and you are just a person just like them. It's frustrating and it's annoying when you just want to get some toilet paper and it takes you 25 minutes. But yeah, it is what it is.
Keep that fresh too, though, because you want that. Who would love to be recognised in their marketplace? Absolutely. Yeah, you really want to. Do you get that, mate? Do you get people stopping you?
Yeah, look, out for dinner last night and 3 people came over to the cubicle that I had strategically booked for the back corner of the restaurant, and people just see you. But my partner Luke, it drives him nuts. We go for a walk on a Sunday morning, and you know, often he's blocks away because he doesn't stop and chat. I like to stop people and say, hey, I met you at the Open, and how's your morning? Like I love that interaction.
Yep.
And I think that frequency builds trust amongst your marketplace.
Yep. Tara, are you guys about tech? Do you guys use a lot of tech in your business?
A lot of tech. My favourite is Airtable, and I'm sorry they're not sponsoring today because I could go on about them for hours.
Can't talk about that anymore. No, keep going.
Airtable we have like a really strategic Monday morning sales meeting just between me and Noel. It's just for our team that can go from anywhere between an hour to 2 hours. And I've set up the process on Airtable so that it is all fluid and it all goes through there. So we go through settlements for the week, we go through what properties are starting for the week, we go through how many we want to sell for the week, we've got goals, and what we need to put into place to achieve that within the week. So I think Airtable's a big one for us.
Airtable. So you guys are really strict about your numbers. You know your numbers of what you need to do for the month, for the week.
It's all in Airtable.
Good stuff. Well done, Noel. Well done. How about you guys? Jassy, are you clear on your numbers? Do you know what you need to do or what the goal is?
It's sort of, again, tough where we are. It's a really small town and we don't get the turnout. Like, we'll be lucky to get 1 to some opens.
Yep.
I can have a Saturday and I won't see a single buyer. And that's not uncommon.
Is anyone else experiencing that, by the way? Yep.
I feel your pain. It's really hard. But at the same time, like, I think... Yeah, we try and set goals, but we have to try and be fluid with that, because if we put too much pressure on that in an ever-changing market, especially where we are, it's going to be quite depressing.
Yep. Bailey, are you really strict about your numbers and your goals, or are you more of a free-flowing kind of guy?
Yeah, no, we all hold ourselves accountable. We've all got KPIs individually. We have a Monday huddle as a team, review the past week, review the current week, set your week up for success. We have a daily huddle. Morning and afternoon, so we're always on the pace.
Yep.
You know, we sort of cover a few different core areas, and there's always something happening. It's a pretty busy time. What's
important to you guys to what you deliver? So, you know, in your customer service, what is the thing you really focus on that's important to you? We'll go this way.
I think for me, REA reviews, and yes, credit to REA. I think that's been an incredible asset to building our brand. I think we're just under 300, a couple of 4 stars in there.
Just you or your team?
Yep, on realestate.com. And we get a lot of call-ins from that, from appraisal requests. And that stems down to what's important is a win-win outcome from both ends. Nothing beats a 5-star review from the buyer, but also the seller. Then you know you've done a really good job, and you know, I like going to bed at night knowing, you know what, I did the best for them, for both parties, and that's just a great outcome for everyone.
Awesome. Absolutely. Because it is hard to please both sides of the deal sometimes. So that's awesome that you're getting those.
And particularly, like, I think a lot of deals are stumped in their way because the vendor becomes to hate the buyer or vice versa. But that's all based on the communication that we've had to both parties
100%.
too. So it's keeping it harmonious for everybody.
It's a real art form, and I think it's important that agents understand our job is to get 2 groups of people to like each other, even though they'll never meet each other. It's an important part of it. Yeah. Tara, for you,
I forgot the question, Joe.
Well, what do you think is most important for the client experience?
The client experience, well, Bailey was talking about reviews. I think that it's everything that leads up to getting that review, and just making sure that it's seamless, making sure that everyone's happy. And I know that's not it 100% of the time, but just ensuring that process is met.
Yep, because as a younger person, you go into an older person's house and you need to be able to tap into their emotion as well. And, you know, not having that experience of life sometimes, the people that you're dealing with might think, well, hang on, what does this person know? So it's important that you can tap into their needs and desires. So, Jassy, have you had those experiences with people, or have you got a story that really stands out for you?
I think for us, we're always driven by the person, not the profit. So I think it's really hard. We try really hard in that first appraisal or that first meeting to really delve into who they are, why they're selling, where they're going, what their relatives are like, what they're going to do on a Saturday. So when we meet them or when we call them, we know as much as we can about them. And that's not even just based off that being a tactic. That's just who we probably are as people. And it's based on the fact that we want to make sure that our goal here is getting their house sold so that they can do something in their life that they've probably been looking forward to, or it's because of really hard circumstances. We're seeing a lot at the moment that are selling because they genuinely just can't afford to stay, which is heartbreaking. And then I think it comes into making sure that your approach is based off the circumstances that they're telling you. If they're selling because of that, we have to have a really gentle approach. If they're selling because they want to get in the van and go around Australia for 12 months, it's completely different. So I think for us, it's just tailoring that experience to who they are as people and why they're doing this, because it can be so, so different for everyone.
Absolutely. Guys, are you impressed by the level of maturity on this stage I'm sitting with? It's impressive, isn't it? Bailey, how many sales would you make a year?
So year to date, we're sitting on about 47 sales, average com of about 24,000.
Year to date, as in from January to now? Financial year?
No, sorry, financial year, pardon me. Financial year, yeah, about 50 homes a year.
Yeah,
and we're on track for 1.2 for our third year in a row.
That's awesome. Third year in a row. 1.2. Nice, well done. Do you sit back and did you think, before you got into real estate, did you think you would be doing this?
Well, I always wanted to sell cars, and people hate car salesmen and real estate agents, so I thought, I think I picked the better option. But I've always had a passion for cars, and I love cars, and then I fell into it somewhat by mistake. So, sometimes I don't think we give ourselves enough credit necessarily. Like, we're always to the beck and call of our clients, and just to take a step back and go, you know what, you're actually doing a really good job. We're always our harshest critics, and it's a roller coaster for us and our clients. So, it's cool to look back and just give yourself a pat.
100%. I can tell you, mate, the people around you are noticing. Don't worry, they see it. And it's the same for you guys. I'm sure not just your competitors, but people see it and appreciate it. We are really hard on ourselves. We focus on the negative sometimes. But yeah, if you guys do stop, and it's something to, old Grandpa Jarrod talking now, if you stop and appreciate what you have done so far, I think it's an awesome thing. Well done. It's impressive. So, what's next, do you think, for you, Jassy? What's the big audacious goal? Have you got one?
It's so hard because I'm obviously very, very fresh. I just really want to keep pushing and keep going. I love where I'm from, and I've never been one of those people that has wanted to sort of grow up and get out. I just don't ever see myself leaving. But I want to sort of put us more on the map and make us a destination and bring more buyers in. We had a moment of that. We are notoriously from the area of the mushroom murders. So, yes.
Oops.
Jack actually sold 2 houses for her, so she's a different character. But that when we had people coming down and chatting to us about that, as much as it was, little town gossip, it was exciting that our town was something more than, where I went to school and things like that. People were coming and they were seeing the beauty of it and they were really appreciating it. So I think for us in our office, it's a massive thing where we meet buyers. We have a massive network in area specialists, and getting people down to our area is huge. So yeah, our goal as the duo that we are is just to keep pushing and keep growing. We've had massive, massive growth. Jack has in the last 12 months, and since I started, it's just sort of gone gangbusters because we've got more people on the forefront. So that's the goal for us. Just keep pushing, setting goals and trying to reach them, I suppose.
Have there been any obstacles for you? Any real challenges that hit you?
I think the hardest thing for both of us, Jack's quite young as well, and I think that people sometimes not believe in us, but they don't trust that we can do it because we're so young. It doesn't happen as much now because obviously we've got results to show for it, but I think it's tough because it's almost like sabotage from the other agencies in town. Like, they don't want us to be successful, which is really hard, and I would love to be from an area where we have local mentors and we have people pushing us forward, but there are certain agencies that, don't want that and try and drag us down. So that's always a challenge for us. But I think we just try really hard to be true to who we are and show that to people. And if they take it, great. And if not, then we'll prove it to them in other ways, I suppose.
Yep. How did you overcome that initially?
It's hard because you get angry and you sort of, I suppose, want to bite back and you want to stoop to that level. But I think for both of us, like, as I said, Jack and I have been friends for a long time and I know him to his core and he's the same with me. So I think that we can be true to ourselves and just pull ourselves back and just be like, no, we're not like that. It's really hard, and I suppose it's probably like that in some other markets, but I think you just have to go back to what are you in it for, and we're in it to help people, so we have no interest in what the other agencies are doing. It's great if they succeed, and if they don't, then it's great for us, but we'll get there.
Beautiful. Tara, can I ask, how do you deal with rejection? Have you been rejected as one really hit you hard?
There's not one that specifically stands out, but I listen to a lot of podcasts and they all say you just have to brush it off your shoulder, and I can't do that, and I don't think I will ever be able to do that. And I think that the reason that I care so much is because I genuinely care. And the second that you stop caring is the second that you probably shouldn't be doing this, because you don't have that level of care to provide for those clients, because you fundamentally might know that you are the best person to do the job, and they might not be choosing that correctly.
Beautiful.
And if that's what you believe, then you're just believing in yourself.
Bailey, if you miss out on a listing, how do you deal with it? If it's one you really wanted.
It hurts and you're angry for a minute. I think it's always important to thank the client again for the opportunity to earn their business. Expired listings are the greatest, and that's happening more now than I think what we've seen in the last 4 or 5 years. So, accepting that you've made a mistake, maybe learn from the mistake, thanking them more importantly, and just get over it.
Nice.
There's enough out there for us all to do well.
Having a headspace of abundance is really, really important for everybody out there. And we're sitting here as competitors at the same time, and with a respect from my end anyway. It is important that you come from a headspace of abundance, because otherwise you do get caught in the trap of just being so negative if you miss out on something. And unfortunately for your competition, that's where they are, Jassy, at the moment. They're thinking of the things they're missing out and the money that they're potentially missing out. What's the big goal for you, mate? What's the goal?
What's next? I think growing the team. We'd love to be a $2 and $3 million powerhouse, and that will just take more resources and more people. So that's a goal. And business ownership in the near future, or in the next 5 years, is also what I'm striving for. Yep.
Demarshall White, no, that would it be in with you? Tara, do you have a big goal? Do you have something that really sticks with you?
Yeah, I just want to sell more properties than Bailey White.
And Jassy, she's up against it.
No, probably just grow the team at this point and help as many clients on their journey as possible, because I think we really underplay how much of an impact we have on their lives.
Sure can. It's an amazing industry where we do get to impact people's lives. We're not brain surgeons or anything like that. It's not rocket science. But you can have a massive impact in the people that you're dealing with. And I think you guys, as young, amazing people, I know we've still got a few minutes to go. Before we do, can we get a round of applause for these guys? Because I'm really impressed. I would be very happy to list my home with any of you. I'd be really, really happy to do it, because you have maturity well beyond your years, and I'm impressed. So thank you from the bottom of my heart too. Now guys, what's the big thing for you that you take away from today? Has there been anything that you've really, really sat with and gone, I can bring that into my business? Bailey, we'll start with you.
I think the wonderful thing about these events is it can confirm all the right things you're doing, and if you add an extra couple of extra few percents to your business, then you just keep growing and growing. There's been so much valuable content from today. I think for me as a growing leader now, just learning how I can provide the best platform for my team members now. From what Joel mentioned, that was some really fantastic advice, and there's so much to summarise, but it can just confirming what you're doing is good.
And I'll come back around, because I want one thing that you are going to implement. Tara, anything you got from today?
I've probably done 15 pages of notes from all of the speakers today. You've just been amazing. But just those little 1%ers that I think might drop off sometimes when you do get busy, just make sure that they are implemented, and that's just part of your structure.
Jassy, anything stick out for you?
I think it's just reassuring to know that it's okay to just be who you are, you know, going to appraisals in activewear or wearing a cap or doing whatever. You know, Jack wears ripped jeans and I wear a polo every day, and all the other agents are rocking up in suits, but we're just not like that.
Yep.
And we're not going to pretend to be. And I think, yeah, strategy is a massive one. I've taken a lot of notes on that. I think that that's something we can really work on in the business, and that will help us push further. It's hard. Obviously, we're just sort of winging it to an extent. But, yeah, strategy is always a massive one, so it's been great to hear that from so many successful people.
Fantastic. Well, I myself am looking forward to seeing all of your progress. I'm going to watch really, really closely, especially you, mate. Game on. I think it is awesome that people within the same marketplace, and I feel sad for you, Jassy, that people in your marketplace aren't embracing that, because young talent is really important. I think it's obviously the future of our industry. Dinosaurs like myself are going to get out of it at some point, but we can still impart knowledge to each other. And I hope today, some of you guys, some of the older folk as well, have learnt from these guys. So can we get a massive round of applause? Jassy Batrouney, Tara Flynn, Bailey Whites. Impressive. Thank you so much, guys. Well done.